So let's have a deeper look into the different parts that we just showed on the previous slide. What kinds of software components can you have first and foremost? Well, at the uppermost level, you have the application software component. The application software component is something that works completely independent from the hardware, the environment where it's being used. This contains the high-level algorithms. So these are functions which can be moved around between different cars and so on without any consideration for the underlying parts. Example for this would be our dimmer software component on the previous slide. Then we have sensor software components. Sensor software components or sensor actuator software components are parts of software that abstract that abstract the behavior of sensors and actuators connected to our ECU. In our example previously, this would be the light component and the switch and the door component. These modules are still, in a way, independent from the hardware that's being used, independent from the microcontroller, but they have a dependency on the peripherals that are connected to the microcontroller. In terms of code, they will look exactly the same as application software components. So we are talking here just about a difference in name, nothing else. And below that, we need some way of getting the information from the lower layers. So of getting this information all the way up through this stack or all the way back down to the lower layers. And this is where we have another module called the IO hardware abstraction. So we are still bound by some limitations in Autosar. For example, we are not in Autosar Classic, we are not working object-oriented. So we cannot work with some fancy mechanisms like, for example, inheritance and so on, or some design patterns. Nevertheless, we still want to have the possibility to give some way of ordering and working with the software. So the main way in which you can organize your software in Autosar is by using compositions. Compositions are a way of grouping separate software components into a logical functionality. For example, here we have a sensor switch component and a dimmer component, and we can create a composition where we put both of them in. And then we can tackle this as though it was a single software component. So if we export this composition and import it into another configuration, the connections between those software components will remain, and to the outside world, it will look like you have a software component with a single output port and not with all this stuff inside. Of course, you can look inside, but it's not necessary to fully understand the functionality. I cannot recommend the usage of compositions too highly. They're a very nice way of organizing your software and a very nice way of understanding to keep better control over how everything is working in your ECU. So by all means, make use of these mechanisms.